Good morning, everybody. Today we are going to discuss about effective doctor-patient communication. My dear students, as all of you know that communication is a way that is very much required in our field, specifically if you are being a physician, if you are treating a patient and you are handling attendance of the patients, then you should have good communication. So what is that good communication? Let us discuss. First, we must emphasize on effective communication. What are the objectives? Objectives are to realize importance of effective communication, optimal, that is your optimal drug use. That is less amount of drug use for treating the condition. To identify effective communication and patient compliance. So we have to identify the method how we should be able to communicate to the patient and attendant for a better compliance by the patient as well as by the attendant. So here, as we know, to correlate socio-economic and socio-cultural influence on therapy, sometimes some of the social as well as cultural background, they also influence therapy. If we'll discuss and if we'll discuss or I will explain then the role of polio vaccination when it was in a mode of polio eradication program during 90s. Some persons, due to their cultural beliefs, they don't want to take the polio vaccination. Like some of the preparation previously like iron and some preparation like thyroxine, as they were derived from animal sources. Most of the ladies and those who are vegetarians, they don't like to take it. So these are the socio-cultural influences on therapy. We must clarify these points to the patients as well as attendants so that will be eliminated. Now, what is communication? What we mean by communication? It is a process of sharing information or messages. For what or for why? This purpose is for common understanding. So for common understanding, we should have a process of sharing information or messages related to our treatment. And let me tell you one thing. This communication is derived from the Latin word, that is your communis. Communis means common. So that language is common to everybody, or that language should be understandable by the common people. Also, that is coding of ideas and thoughts. That communication that include coding of ideas and thoughts, and when it is given in verbal mode or written mode, when we give any verbal instruction or any written instruction to a person, to a patient, only 7% is written, only 7% is written. But when we use paraverbal mode, that means tone, pitch and accent, when they are given or they are merged along with verbal or written mode, then another 35% is added. So now you are achieving 42% if you are given verbal or written mode along with paraverbal mode. And if you give non-verbal mode, that is by the body language of the doctor, then that itself gives 55% of communication. So if you altogether, if you mix everything like your verbal mode, paraverbal mode, including tone, pitch and accent along with non-verbal mode or body language, then you are getting almost 97%. So your aim is or your goal is achieved. Then what is the purpose of this communication? To create good interpersonal relationship. So you are generating a good interpersonal relationship like empathy. And what is the meaning of empathy? Not sympathy. Empathy is you are placing your emotion into the patient. You are feeling, if I would have become the patient, so what would have been my expression, my explanation, my feeling. And you have to give respect to the person, to the patient. You have to give or prove genuineness of the patient. Then very important is warmth. You must show warmth to your patient, and or that is known as unconditional acceptance. Yes, your patient is right, he is right. Then what else? Then you have to exchange information. That means information that is informed by the patient to the caregiver or to the physician. Then to get information by the doctor or physician to the seeker or the patient and attendants. Then comes to the next point, only comes to the your treatment. Treatment depends upon various related relevant decisions. By whom? By giver, that is physician. Then by seeker, the patient, and by the attendants. So when all of three merges, then only treatment related decision can be taken. So giver, you will advise what these are the drugs, these are the advice you have to follow. Seeker will comply, yes, I will take these drugs. Then caregiver or the attendant who are with the patient, they will also comply, yes, we will comply to these points. Then only decision can be taken. Then what information to be given? So information about the drugs, about the lifestyle, about the disease, that should be informed to the patient as well as to the attendants. So basically this is a type of shared decision making. Shared between physician or doctor along with patient and the attendants. So this is a shared decision making. What is good communications? Good communications should be helpful and friendly. So in your initial greeting, you should greet the patient as well as attendant. Then sitting by the doctor and sitting for the patient and attendant should be conducive. That should be a conducive environment for sitting inside the doctor's chamber. Then body posture of the doctor should be non-threatening. Your body posture should be so that the patient and attendants, they should be feel happy or feel non-threatening condition or environment so that they can able to interact. Then maintain eye to eye contact. If you are not maintaining your eye to eye contact, then patient and their attendants, they will feel that they are not being heard by the, listened by the doctor. So they will not feel good. Then sometimes you have to interrupt the patient or attendant and you have to facilitate sometimes when it is needed. So to interrupt and to facilitate whenever it is needed, that doctor should do. Then relevant talk on the track should be there. If a person is having fever, then complain. You take the complaint, chief complaints, and what else he wants to tell you. Then you have to take the relevant history, you have to do relevant talk, and it should be on the track. Not that before 20 years back he had fever and he was suffering from your enteric fever. It was not like that. What is happening now? You should be in the track. So discuss relevant psychosocial and personal issues with the patient. If a patient is having any personal issues also, you have to ask for, like personal history, psychosocial history, you have to take. It may have some impact on the treatment part also. And you have to be silent at a times to listen to your patient and take verbal and non-verbal leads. Sometimes you have to ask what happened after that, what next, or you can just give some non-verbal cues or leads so that patient may able to express and explain himself or herself. Then clarify the expression. If a patient is giving any expression, then you have to clarify it by the patient and the attendants. Now these are very, very important points like avoids or don'ts of the communication, good communication, effective communication. Don't do cynical talks. Don't do cynical talks. Don't give any misleading false hope. Don't tell that you are a physician who is equivalent to God. You will, with your magic touch, you will heal everything. Don't give such type of false hope. If a person is suffering from cancer, he knows that he is suffering from cancer. Such type of hope, no negative thoughts should be given to him or her. Hopeless outlook. Don't give any hopeless comments. Or don't feel the person or the patient that he is at a guilt. Why you took this ice cream so that nowadays you are suffering from enteric fever? Why you took this thing so that this thing has happened? So that guilt complex should not be created inside the patient. And don't lose your temper. If you are losing your temper, then your treatment part will be nullified. Don't scold, neither at the patient nor at the attendants. If you lose your temper, then their faith will be lost. And now these are the various important points to remember. Number 1, that is by the prescriber. Non-verbal communication and verbal communication. Then patient's complaints. Doctor's question about severity. What is the severity of your pain or length of your suffering? That you should not forget to ask. Then important point is diagnosis. You must reach at a point to diagnose the case. Yes, this is the case. Then doctor's explanation about diagnosis or doctor's explanation to the patient's question. If a patient is questioning about the disease, about what he had took last night and today morning he is having vomiting, what is the cause of my illness or why I am having all these things, you have to slowly explain to the patient with patience. Doctor's explanation about the treatment, what you are going to do for this particular disease or for particular ailment, you have to explain. These are the drugs, these are the food habits, these are the lifestyle that patient has to follow and attendant has to look after. Then few explanations are required, like what is the name of the drug? If you are giving metformin to the patient, then tell that this is metformin, this is used for your high blood sugar condition or for diabetes. So that name he should know. Then its therapeutic effect, yes, that will metformin will low down your blood sugar. Then side effect, like if his blood sugar, his or her blood sugar will be much less, that is less than 60, then he or she may again go into hypoglycemic condition or may lead to hypoglycemic coma. So how to take it, that also you have to tell him, like before breakfast, before lunch or before dinner, and after taking the drug, you have to take your meal or lunch or dinner. So this information you have to give, the therapeutic effects and side effects, how to take the drug and when to stop. Suppose a patient cannot come to doctor immediately, what to advise? Then you can inform immediately, you take some glucose powder or some food, water, and immediately inform or immediately report to a health center. And suppose continuously if you are on any antihypertensive therapy and continuously your blood pressure is less than 60, 80/60, then inform that stop the drug, stop the antihypertensive or blood pressure lowering agent, and inform to your healthcare center or your doctor. Then you have to explain on other information as well as patient's questions about treatment. Patient's question about treatment, patient will ask definitely till what time I will take this, when I will stop it, or when to inform you, when to again come, when to do the next blood sugar test. All these things you have to explain. Patient will ask and you have to explain. And how to prevent the disease or exacerbation, all this information you must tell. suppose lifestyle modification is required, then you have to advise to go for lifestyle modification. Okay, any infectious condition that is related to your food, water borne or food borne diseases, then also you have to advise them for to use pure or your boiled, cooled, filtered water, or your hygienically prepared food that they have to take. These information should be given. This is an example. This is an example we have taken from the word gather in family planning practice. Suppose from gather, G-A-T-H-E-R. So here G, it stands for greet patient in friendly and helpful way. Greet your patient in friendly as well as in helpful way. Then ask him or her about the complaints. So next is you ask question so that he or she can tell you the complaints. Then suppose regarding this is regarding your family planning practices. So here they want to know all these things. So you tell them, T for tell them about the various methods available for family planning practice. Now you told the various types of family planning practices. And next step is to help the person or to help the patient to decide which family planning practice he or she has to follow. Then if they have chosen one particular practice, then you have to explain the use. You have to use like this. Then you have to ask for help them to plan for the return visit. So these are the various points like GATHER or gather in family planning practices. This is just an example. Another very important point is active listening. So active listening by the doctors or by the physician. So here you sit comfortably with the patient, no distracting movement, don't move your key ring and your pen, any pill rolling movement or movement of your various parts of the body or rolling of eyeballs. Don't do any distracting movements. Then look directly and listen what your patient says. Yes, patient is telling that he is suffering from this and this. So you have to listen it very directly. You have to look and you have to listen carefully to your patient. Then notice their tone, choice of words, facial expressions and gesture. Just notice if he is using low tone or high pitch, choice of words, soothing or irritating, facial expression, whether he is smiling or in a pain or in anger, gesture, what gesture he is giving to you. Then keep yourself in your patient's place. That is your empathy. The difference between empathy and sympathy is you are putting yourself to another one. That is your empathy. But when that is you are putting your emotion to your inside your patient's emotion. You are keeping yourself in the place of patient. Sympathy is you are feeling sorry for the person. So that is sympathy. Keep silent sometimes whenever you are discussing with your patient. Keep silent sometimes. Listen to him very carefully with warmth. Give time to think. You just give some time to think for that patient. Then ask some question and talk. So you have to listen carefully. Use words like then and oh. Oh, what happened? And suppose he stopped, then you can ask, and after that what happened? Then what happened? What then? Like this you can ask so that they can continue if they have forgotten. This encourages patient to keep talking. So you should encourage your patient to talk. Repeat every now and then what you heard. So you ask, okay, you had fever 2 days back, then you had vomiting. Okay, you had fever, then vomiting. You had loose stool also. So first you had vomiting, first you had fever, then vomiting, then loose motion or loose stool. So like this, you have to repeat the question so that patient will clarify everything. Then both of you will know what you have understand. So at the end of this discussion or this question answer session, at the end, doctor or physician as well as your patient will come to know that what is his or her problem. Now we'll come to effective questioning. So what questioning you have to do? You have to use your tone, voice that shows interest. You are interested in your patient or this particular case. You are interested or you are concerned for your patient as well as you are friendly to your patient. Don't ask too much a question. Don't bombard questions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Not like this. You can ask 2 or 3 questions. Then patient can explain it nicely. Encourage patient to ask question in different way. You have to encourage the patient. Let them ask what they want to know so that you can explain them. And whenever you are asking any question, then ask only one question at a time, not that simultaneously. Wait for the answer. Once he or she has explained you to your question, then you ask for the next question. Then ask some relevant questions that is relevant to your patient. So this is how a doctor and patient should be happy. So if your patient is happy, then doctor is happy. So happy patient, happy doctor. So this is all about your effective doctor-patient communication. Thank you.